Okay, quick music disclaimer here. I do not own the rights to this music, which belongs to the rightful owner, who is the intoxicating mind of Dr. Frankenstein. So he made my intro and my outro, and I hope you guys enjoy. Check them out on Spotify and YouTube, and no copyright infringement is intended. Have a good day.
A clear choice of good versus evil, of right versus wrong.
Twisted Tales.
This is Christine,
This is Jessie.
and we are the hosts of the podcast Dark Mysteries.
Please come join us every Monday for
Some crazy true crime,
some spooky paranormal.
and of course it wouldn't be complete without some weird and creepy.
You can find us on Spotify,
Of course on Patreon.
as well as Amazon and many others.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Alright, welcome back to Twisted Tales, folks. Hope everybody's well here. Now, my next tale that I have for you here is going to be a missing persons case from back home. This will be from Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, Canada. Now, it revolves around a man named Kenneth Douglas MacNeil. So this case here is an active missing persons case. It's actually one of many from the area. I believe there's 15 cases altogether, and that's actually only in the last little while here. Now, this will be the second one that I've covered, so there's 13 more to go that I have to do. Now, Kenneth, or Kenny, as he was called, he disappeared from the Upper Leeches Creek area on August 27th, 2014. So the Leeches Creek area is a community located in the Canadian province of Nova Scotia. This is in the Cape Breton Regional Municipality on Cape Breton Island. Now, it's located along a creek and a brook of the same name. The creek here was actually named by a guy named Adam Moore. And this is when the Scottish settlers had settled in the area back in the 1780s. Now, all these early settlers here had the name of Leech, so this is where Leech's Creek came to be, right? And give or take, this place has a population of around 340, but this was actually from a census that I found way back in like 1956. So it's not really a huge spot, but it's a spot nonetheless, right? Now, this isn't far from the Sydney area, Sydney, Nova Scotia. And this is where Kenny actually lived throughout his years. And roughly from Leeches Creek to there, well, Upper Leeches Creek to there, it's like a 22-kilometer distance. So let's say a 20-minute drive from there to Sydney. But the thing is, Kenny didn't really have a car, or a license to operate a car, for that matter. He actually relied on his pedal bike for a mode of transportation. Kenny would get around with like some family members or whatever. They'd take him for groceries, his medication, or any upcoming doctor's appointments, things like that, right? Sometimes Kenny would bike from Sydney to the Upper Leeches Creek area. I mean, the guy loved to ride around. You could see good scenery along the way, familiar faces, everything, right? Now, if he traveled by bike to and from, this was like an hour and 45-minute trek each way. So it's like a little less than 60-kilometer trip total. And Kenny was born November 22nd, 1963. This is in Sydney, Nova Scotia, Canada. And this was at the St. Rita's Hospital on the corner of Kings Road and Churchill Drive. This actually overlooks Sydney Harbour. Well, it did at one point. The St. Rita's was originally a nursing school. This was established in 1924, and it operated until 1933. Then it was reestablished in 1955. So it had like 162 beds that were available. they helped take care of the community actually up until its closure in 1995. This was February 25th of 1995. Now, as I spoke to some family here and everything too, Kenny actually has six brothers and three sisters altogether. And it's a very loving and caring bunch. I've spoke to her brother and one of his sisters there. And yeah, no, they're just great people there. They helped me a ton with some questions that I had here. So wanted to say thank you for everything here and passing along some knowledge and answering some questions that I had to get this case going. So back to it here. He went to Holy Redeemer Boys School. This is up in Whitney Pier. And that institution there was actually founded back in 1930. And this is located on the corner of Carlin Street and Church Street. So after that, he went to junior high. This was Don Bosco Junior High. This is off of Church Street. This was actually established in 1953. And the whole school was actually destroyed by a fire there in March of 1999. So March Madness begins, I guess. Yeah, and whenever there was a celebration that was going on, Kenny would be the first guy there with bells on, you know what I mean? Whether it be like a family event or a holiday, something like Canada Day or some kind of town event, right? Now, they would have like a bunch of games and races and everything, so he would actually take part in these races here. Now, some of these went from Steel Workers Hall down to Dead Man's Turn. And there were lots of games and events for everybody to attend too, right? He'd join in with friends, family, what have you, right? It was just a fun-filled day, right? Now, he'd win some prizes for his participation and everything, some ribbons and stuff like that. He went swimming down, was it Polar Bear Beach? This is down fucking South Bar there. This is in the pier. He played baseball with the kids around the neighborhood. Fun little thing. He was actually a team mascot here at one point. So he'd do his thing around the whole community, right? Like everybody loved this guy. Now, he'd make the kids laugh here, you know, he'd help them out with their ball playing, coach them, do little things like that, right? Just spread his knowledge around, right? He did a lot of manual labor jobs here too in his years, growing up and everything. Now, he didn't really have a steady paying job or anything like the most that he did was jobs for cash that were under the table. So he get paid for cash. There you go, right? But Kenny, he liked to drink a little bit and he liked to smoke dope, have a joint here and there. But some people would actually like pay him with like weed or like a fucking case of beer or something, right? They'd tell him they'd pay him at the end of the when he was done everything and they fuck him over, right? Oh, here's like 2 cases of beer for your 60 hours of work, right? And I mean, there were people that would just straight up pay this guy, right? The guy was a good worker. And other people would just straight up fuck him over. The pay that he was given wasn't really worth his 40 or 60 hours of whatever time he put into this mission. But like I mentioned here, like Kenneth was a very nice guy. A lot of folk actually took advantage of his kindness too. Like they'd rip him off, they'd use him, they would shortchange him. And he was a smart guy here, and he could tell if you're trying to rip him off or trying to con him or whatever, right? I mean, he wasn't stupid. He knew you were fucking with him, right? But it's just who he was, right? Like he just hang out, he'd talk to you, do whatever. He's straight up nice guy. Now his brother John had worked at the steel plant here, and they had a big family. There were lots of brothers. There were a few sisters. And I believe John mentioned there that there were 10 siblings altogether. Kenny didn't really travel that much either, more so on account of him like not having a government issued driver's license and shit like that. But this is where family actually came in to help him. They would just take him places like, you know, you need a ride, Kenny, we got you kind of thing, right? It was good like that. Now, he loved to have a few pops here with his friends here. He was a big fan of country music too. He loved to play his music here. Just made him very happy. He was just the life of the party kind of dude, right? And there were other times here, like, people just remember him being just a sweet kind of guy. He had a really good sweet side about him. He actually wrote up some poetry and stuff here to pass the time. So he was into a lot of stuff here. And like I said, he mostly stayed back in the Cape Breton area here. And sometime in the 1990s, he actually joined up with the Canadian Forces. But he wasn't willing to travel abroad because he loved Cape Breton too much, my guess, right? And his brother even mentioned that he had a love for Cape Breton. But his whole armed forces career here was kind of short-lived. This was due to some health issues here, and he went on to disability. Now, the Canadian Forces here are the Unified Military Forces of Canada. So this includes like land, sea, and air. And they have approximately 68,000 active personnel as of today. So, pretty cool to see everything on the up and up, right? Now, Kenny soon went on disability here, so he would actually collect a disability check. So, this is actually an income replacement benefit program. This is run by Service Canada, so it pays monthly benefits to eligible people. And I'm sure there's a few things like some sort of criteria and stuff to get this, like your age, contribution, or like other disability requirements, notes from doctors, things like that. So the way you do this is you apply by sending in an application to Service Canada so they review it and they either approve you or deny you upon your requirements. Now these payments actually go up until the age of 65. So along with this, Kenny also had like a medicinal marijuana card. So this would give the card holder the ability to smoke weed and grow marijuana plants, if need be. Now, this helped him with a lot of his pain, any other medical illnesses that he had. So, under federal legislation, adults with this card can actually possess up to 30 grams of legally produced cannabis, and then you can grow up to like 4 plants in your household. Now, 30 grams is actually the most you can carry on you at a time. So the medical cards here were a big thing back in the day. I mean, you could just get some primo stuff with that. Now, I had a card actually at one point here. I had some pretty powerful stuff here, but everything now is just legalized here in Canada. So, I mean, you can get whatever you want, right? You can just go into a dispensary, right? Over time, Kenny would do like the odd job here and there. He actually looked after a man who was really sick. He'd clean up his place, he'd look after him. And when it was all said and done, he actually didn't get paid much for his assistance, so he kind of got dicked around here too. Now, a lot of these people would just fucking take advantage of this guy, right? Like I said, like, Kenny didn't have a mean bone in his entire body. I mean, he'd do anything for anyone. He'd literally give you the shirt off his fucking back, so. But I mean, sometimes people can be horrible to others, right? But Kenny always had his family, though. Like, his family always had his back. There's nothing but love there, so I mean, that's awesome. Even every Christmas here, his sister Rose would actually like make him like some Christmas ornaments and stuff. They'd have Christmas dinners. There was always enough to go around. If he had any issues, he could always count on his sister. And, she made sure that he was well taken care of when he needed or whatever, right? Like, if she had anything extra, she'd give it to him or help him out kind of thing, right? He'd even pop over his brother's place up there, and this was in the Upper Leeches Creek area, just to hang out or fix up John's garden, little things like that. Not that he asked him to help him fix up anything, like they'd talk, they'd do their work, right? Just spend the day together kind of thing. Now it's a nice spot up this way too. There's actually a few lakes up here around the area. Well, I mean, you can drive like 20 minutes anywhere back home, and any direction you go, you can hit a body of water. There's a few lakes around the area here too. There's like Forester's Lake, McIsaac Lake, I guess, just to name a couple here. So the Upper Leeches Creek area here is actually it's what's known as like a collector's road or a distributor road here. Now, I thought it was like a highway and everything, but it's just it's a long road. So this is about 72 kilometers of road. This runs from like Leeches Creek Station at Route 305 to north side Waccamaw Bay at Highway 105. So I mentioned a collector's road here. So definition of that is kind of like a low to moderate capacity road. And this is designed to provide access to residential properties. Now, they usually consist of like a mixture of like signaled intersections, roundabouts, traffic circles, stop signs. Usually have a speed limit of anywhere from like 20 to 35 miles per hour. So this whole area here is where Kenny's brother John had lived, and eventually Kenny would actually move out this way here. But Kenny did stay a few places prior, Sydney area mostly. He lived in the Pier, and then up around Macaulay's Lane area. So when he was up by Macaulay's Lane area, Kenny lived up this way with a woman that he met. She was named Kathy. Now, Kathy had 2 kids. She was from the Pleasant Bay area. This is a place up on the west coast of Cape Breton. Now, this is on the shore of the Gulf of St. Lawrence in Inverness County, Nova Scotia, actually. Now, it's known as like the whale watching capital of Cape Breton, and it marks the center of the Cabot Trail. Cool place, very scenic. Now, it's like the main industry up this way is like fishing, lobster. Usually lobster in the spring, snow crab in the summer kind of deal. Now, Kenny was renting from Kathy's parents up on Macaulay's Lane here. Now, Kenny didn't have the credit for like a mortgage or anything, but they all figured it out. And over time, the relationship was awesome and everything, but Kathy became very ill here, so she ended up getting sick with HIV. Now, this is a virus that attacks the body's immune system here, so it targets the body's white blood cells and it weakens their immune system. So Kenny took care of everything that she needed, all of her needs. Kenny always just took care of her. He loved her to no end, right? But unfortunately, she fell wicked ill and she was hospitalized. So when she was hospitalized, her family actually didn't let Kenny see her in the hospital, and she ended up passing away. But up until she was hospitalized here, Kenny spent every moment with her, and it was just wicked heartbreaking that he didn't get to say goodbye. But Kenny did, however, get some of her ashes here after she was cremated, and he took these with him here each and every single place that he went. Now, Kenny took this pretty hard here. I mean, they were totally devoted to one another, right? His family helped him get through all the hard times here. Like, he even had his little dog with him here. He had a poodle, and his name was Lucky. Now, Kenny did go off the rails a little bit after she passed away. Like, he did like his drink and his puff and everything, but no matter how inebriated he got, he never forgot Kathy's ashes anywhere. Like, they were always with him. And there were a lot of folk here that would start to gravitate towards Kenny here. Like, they'd help him out after her death, I'm sure. Like, a few people, right? They were concerned for him. Well, they look out for him, keep an eye on him and stuff. But there were a lot of other folk here that would just fuck him over. Like, they'd use him for a place to drink at, or they'd come see him when he got his check. Like, hey, it's Thursday, Kenny got paid, let's go up there and do whatever, right? Now, some friends brought his spirits back up and everything. There was a friend I talked to, Lauren. Now, he knew Kathy's son, so they played in a band together. He hung out with Kenny, and the house that he had in Colley's Lane here was actually later sold to a friend of Kenny's, I believe, after all this was said and done. But Kenny just continued on, getting by, drinking a bit, smoking some weed with people and stuff like that. He was still all kinds of fucked up from not being able to talk to his girlfriend or see her while she was on her deathbed. Now, that shit it'll weigh on a guy, right? And shortly after, Kenny actually would have to deal with the death of one of his brothers, Robert. Robert actually served in the Gulf War for Canada here. I believe he suffered a heart attack. And he just kept spiraling out of control here for a little bit here, just hanging out with nothing but fucking users and wastes of skin and shit. But I mean, that didn't last too much longer here. His brother John actually had his back here, and John's wife, they did a very awesome thing for Kenny. They actually bought him a trailer or a mobile home, I guess. So they put him up in this, and this was on their property. and this was up in the Upper Leeches Creek area. Now, there were a few conditions along with this here, like there would be no sketch bags coming around the house here. That was totally fine with Kenny. He had a good place up there. It was out in the country. Now, his brother and family they looked after him. They got him his groceries, his medication, take him into town for what have you. And now there were just no more people to try to take advantage of him here on check day and stuff. No more people spending his money before their own. And Kenny just started to loosen up a little bit. But he started to have some health issues here. He'd been recently released from the hospital here. This is not too long after moving in with his brother, up on his brother's property. Now, his brother here had actually been trying to get him into a psych program here. And he was signed into a couple things here. He was signed into emergency because he was very ill at this time and everything. So we spent some time at the hospital and at home, back and forth every so often. And being in his brother's was just a getaway for him here. I mean, Kenny loved to be out in the country. It sure, beat the hell out of the whole hustle and bustle of being in town, right? Now, money was a bit tight at the time for Kenny, so I mean, he didn't work a steady job or anything, but he did sell a couple of his pills for some extra bit of money here. I mean, nobody's perfect, but he always did save some for himself. He did need to take his meds and all, he just needed to get by a little bit like we all do, right? But with the death of his girlfriend, his brother, it just took too much of a toll on him here. I mean, Kathy was his everything here. A little bit about Kathy, actually. She was born Kathleen Rose Moore on January 24th, 1965. She grew up in Pleasant Bay, Inverness County, and her and Kenny, they did a lot together here throughout their time that they had here. She ended up passing away November 5th of 2011 at the age of 46. And his brother Robert had passed in 2013. Now, he was born in Sydney. He was actually raised in the Pier. And he also worked at the steel plant here before he joined up in the Canadian Forces himself here. Now, he did this for a little bit here, but he had some medical shit going on, and he left, and he moved back near his brother John, up in the Leeches Creek area. And this is where he spent a lot of time with, his grandchildren, his family. And the guy's service was up in the Pier Community Funeral Home here on Victoria Road. And it's never easy losing anyone here, let alone having two people in your life gone in less than a 2-year period. But I mean, Kenny kept on. He did the best that he could here. But ever since he went out to his brother's property, though, he just started to relax a little bit more and more. Spent some more time with John, his wife. And they were just enjoying the quiet, right? They'd have a few beers, barbecues, some suppers, everything like that. And Kenny would just sit on the step of his trailer, enjoy the nice weather, because he had all this shit now. He owned this, he maintained it. He was doing really well. And Kenny kept true to his word, too. He didn't have any sketchy people around John's place. His brother and his family were good enough to help him out, and he wasn't going to mess that up. If he ever needed weed or anything, I'm sure he'd just meet somebody down the road or whatever, right? Make a phone call, walk up the road, don't have anybody near the property. And he would just hang out with his dog Lucky here, watch some TV, smoke a joint, relax, have a beer. And this is pretty much day in, day out for a while here. I mean, the guy was just totally happy to spend time with his loved ones. Especially on birthdays and stuff, he'd get some money in a card or something there. That was usually from his sister Rose. She helped him out with a lot here, like I said, and she just made sure he was looked after. It's family, right? You gotta do that. And she'd also, when Kathleen was still alive, when they lived up on Macaulay's Lane here, she'd make him, some care packages here, food and other sweets and stuff there, send it up to him, or get somebody to drop it off to him, right? Kenny didn't travel much here, too. He did travel around Cape Breton. At one point here, he actually went on a family trip here up to Captain Mark's Whale and Sea Cruise. So this is up in the Pleasant Bay area of Nova Scotia. So from where Kenny was in Leeches Creek, well, Upper Leeches Creek, probably be about a 475-kilometer little trip here. So about a 5-hour trip. Now Captain Marks is located at 126 Harbor Road. So this spot here offers up a place to see like marine wildlife, stuff like that, coastal views of Cape Breton Highlands National Park, all the little bit of scenery here. Now the boats that they used were inflatable Zodiac rigid boats. Now these are pretty cool, actually. I checked them out here on a couple sites here. They're actually powered by twin motors. They're equipped with like a hydrophone here. Now this allows you to hear the whales sing from underwater. Now the way that these are built here, it's to help prevent like that little bit of rolling motion that you get when you're sometimes on boats. You know, you can get seasick and shit. They built them for a way that this doesn't happen. You'll rarely get seasick. But I mean, people still get seasick. There's a lot of people that don't like the sea or the ocean or what have you. Now these things bomb around here. It gives you a chance to see like humpback whales, dolphins, seals, and whatnot. And these guys have been in business a really long time too, something like 31 years, I believe, roughly. So these tours go anywhere from, I believe, 2 to 2.5 hours. You can see like finback whales. It's a little easier to see these guys in the month of June. July, you get like more like pilot whales, because the pilot whales actually migrate that way. They stay around until October. Now, humpback whales and dolphins, these guys are more common the end of August and through September. Now, the dolphins, you can actually see around the area very close to the shores. Now, this is because they actually follow a bait fish that arrives that time of year here, so they follow these guys down. The fish go close to the shore, and that's where you can see the dolphins. So they take people on these tours here. The boats can actually hold 12 passengers each, and I believe they're 28 feet in size. Now, the evenings are usually the best time to whale watch too. This is due to the ocean being a little bit calmer. Depends on the weather and such. Now, Kenny had a great getaway with the family here. He was just so happy and content at the time. Very talkative, happy-go-lucky, and especially that day. So after the tour, the family headed back home, and that was just like another memory in the books. It was a really good day. And that trip was August 23rd, 2014. And everything else seemed fine that day. Kenny was just totally happy, right? And there were a few times before the trip there that he acted kind of out of pocket or out of character. But this was a little before that. Even this day here, like, he was just having a good time. He got back, he was back in the country, and he overcame like several personal problems ever since he moved back to his brother's. So on the morning of August 27th, Kenny woke up, and him and his sister-in-law, Wendy, had set out to run a couple errands here. Kenny was in good spirits that day. Now, there was a girl I spoke to, Rhonda. She's actually a friend of mine there. That's actually Wendy's daughter. I know Rhonda from school and everything, and she was the one that went on the trip with Kenny here too, and she said that Kenny was just really happy that day. It was so awesome to see him so cheerful and in a good mood and everything, because he wasn't really feeling the best the last little bit. So Kenny kept his good mood over the next little while after the trip. Now, a few days later, this will be August 27th, so this was check day. So Kenny and his sister-in-law were getting ready to head into town, grab a couple things here, and they ended up making the drive into town. So after running their errands here, they both unloaded a couple things. Wendy went back inside her place, Kenneth went into his, and Kenny started unloading his groceries and whatever else he had to put away. He also grabbed a pouch or two of tobacco here to roll some cigarettes. This is a huge thing back in Cape Breton, possibly other places, I'm not sure. Now, I used to roll my own smokes here at one point. A lot of my friends and older family members and everything rolled smokes. It was just cheaper than buying packs at one point here. Not sure if it still is now or not. I smoke the odd cigarette when I'm stressed the fuck out, but rolling smokes, like, you would either pick up a pouch of John Player's tobacco or Export A. Now, Export A actually had a few different kinds of pouches, like light or smooth, full flavor, shit like that. I actually smoked full flavor when I first started. Now, we called the smokes that we rolled ourselves rollies, and then we called the packs that you buy at the store, like, we called those tailor-mades. Now, it's a little known fact here. A lot of people think that like rolling your own smokes is actually better for you, like you can kind of go at your own pace, roll a couple smokes, you're good for the day kind of thing. But rolling tobacco actually has more additives than manufactured cigarettes. Like there's actually no difference between them health-wise. But it was just a cheaper way to have smokes last you. You could just grab your box of tubes, a roller, pouch of tobacco, or a can of tobacco, and you do your thing, right? So a little later on in the evening here, Kenny's brother, John Harvey McIsaac, had gotten home from work. He pulled his black Ford Ranger into the driveway here. His wife Wendy was outside having a smoke. She was on her back patio. Kenneth was on his step having a joint here. So he was having a little puff, having a beer or two. And the beer that he drank was either Moosehead Dry Ice or something along those lines, Wildcat perhaps. It's just a cheaper beer. Actually had a 6% alcohol content. So if you got a 24 of those, you'd be fucking hammered. They also came in 8-packs at the time here. I'm not sure if 15 packs were a thing here. But yeah, when you would buy an 8-pack of those, it would actually be like you're drinking 9 beer instead of 8. So you buy those for like 13, 14 bucks, and you'd be hammered. Now, the beer here that we're talking about is actually made by Moosehead Breweries, and this is led by the Olin family since 1867, and it's actually the last major brewery in Canada that's actually still owned by Canadians. So, pretty cool. Now, these guys have been through like Prohibition, 2 world wars, a couple of fires, and they still came out strong, right? Now, John seen Kenny here as he was heading in. They chatted a little bit. John asked him if he was hungry and wanted to come in for some supper. The invite was there, but Kenny declined. He was just relaxing on the step here. And he had his pouch of tobacco right beside him, his wallet on the step, a few joints, and he had the ashes of his girlfriend. So John said, I'll see you later here in a bit. They went in, they had something to eat in the house here, and Kenny just hung out by himself here, listening to some music here, getting some fresh air. Now, the air is a little bit different back home, actually being by the ocean and shit. The salt air and all that. It can actually help you with your levels of serotonin naturally and actually stabilize your mood. So maybe that's why my mental health is so fucked, because I'm actually no longer by the ocean. So that's a possibility. But back to it here. Now, John went into the house sometime after 6 p.m. and Wendy went out for a smoke around 8 p.m. And Kenneth was actually still outside having a smoke. She finished her smoke. They chatted for a bit. She went back inside. And yeah, Kenny was just hanging out by himself here, listening to some tunes, just getting some fresh air. Now, the air is a little bit different back home, too. Being by the ocean and shit. The salt air, all that, it could actually help increase your levels of serotonin really naturally and actually stabilize your mood. And maybe that's why my mental health is so fucked lately. It's because I'm no longer by the ocean, right? That's a possibility. But, so, when John went into the house, this was sometime after 6 p.m. here, Wendy went out for a smoke around 8 p.m. And Kenneth was outside having a smoke. So he was on the step there, and she finished her smoke, they chatted a moment, and she went back inside. A few hours later, at about 12:30 a.m., Kenny's dog roamed over to John's place, and John kind of noticed this after the dog started barking a little bit. So he went outside to see why the dog kind of strayed away from Kenny's house. He then went on over to the trailer. The lights were on. The door was wide open, and Kenny wasn't in there. Music was cranked up, playing really loudly, but there were no signs of his brother. He had some joints that were kicking around here. His cigarettes were on the step. I don't know, maybe he went to venture out to go grab some weed up the road or something, right? I mean, it was check day. May as well, right? And it wasn't like Kenny, like, not to tell his family members where he was going. Like, if they were going to bed or something, Kenny would say, like, I'm going to bed too. I just need to run up the road a minute here, or bike up to this place, something like that, right? But this time he didn't. He didn't say a word on where he was headed. And that's just something that he didn't do, ever. It was just totally out of pocket for him. Now, the next day, the police were notified promptly, and he was reported missing. Everything that Kenny had that night, like his smokes, his wallet, the ashes in the little urn there that he carried, all that stuff had been left home. Like the joints and everything that he rolled was there, like I mentioned. The groceries were put away here. The fridge was full. He had all his medication, um, dog food, stuff like that was all there. I mean, he wasn't planning on going anywhere. And maybe somebody up the road, perhaps, like, maybe when they met up with him, something happened. But yeah, no, after this whole night here, Kenneth Douglas MacNeil has never been seen again. And in the days after Kenny's disappearance, police searched the area. They had trained searchers too. They were all combing the wooded area that was all around. They checked near the property, the road, but there's been zero trace of him. Now, Rose, Kenny's sister, she didn't overly care for how the police kind of did the search here. She told me, like, all they did was shine their little flashlights around a little bit, and some days when they're out, oh, it's too hot here, we'll check it out another day, or something like that, right? Or they didn't get too far into the woods here, due to it, like, being wicked dark and stuff, and lots of wooded, bushy area and shit like that, right? Now, police, they pretty much called off the search there, I believe, like 5 days later, something like that. It was a few days later, anyway. But there was actually more help from the search and rescue folk. Like, they had drones and all this stuff here to look above in the wooded areas, the unreachable areas. They could see above the trees and stuff, and this kind of helps, like, search and rescue with their operations too. Usually by aerial searches here. Some drones have thermal imaging here that can detect heat signatures throughout fog, smoke, pure darkness. Even with all that technology and everything there was no sign of Kenny, and nothing was found again. I mean, there was no trace of anything, and it's weird that this is all happening. There's a few cases when it looks like people just disappeared off the face of the earth. But like I said, the family hasn't given up hope on finding him or anything like that. Over the course of this, it's still an active missing persons case. There's been tips here that have come in over time. A person told police that he had seen Kenny on the highway around exit 3 later that evening, running around. His arms were flailing about, screaming, acting crazy. Police did talk to the guy here that sent in the report. They also did investigate the location of his sighting. They came back and that was it. Nothing further was mentioned, and that's as far as it went. A description of Kenny here. He has a slim build, gray and black hair, which is below his ears and above his shoulders. And he was last seen wearing a gray t-shirt and some green flower shorts. So as time progressed, it got kind of cold, and the Cape Breton family just sits there wondering, like, if they'll ever see their brother, their uncle, their brother-in-law ever again. Rose, when I spoke to her, she mentioned that she has trouble sleeping because ever since his disappearance, she just thinks of him being outside somewhere in the rain. Maybe him not knowing his frame of mind or anything, or where he's at, kind of thing, right? And that just not knowing that sucks. But it's now the family that actually continue on more so with the searches now. They do this. They go out into the bush, into the woods, down along the highways. I mean, they even search the entire neighborhood here, the general area, multiple times. Even down by Robert's place there, the brother, they checked all down that way as well. And there's tons of thick bush located in those woods too, and there's areas here that have drop-offs like 20 to 30-foot drop-offs. So I mean, you can walk, you can fall down. I mean, shit happens. Nighttime, I mean, sometimes those woods are pitch black, and you're running or you're trying to get through there. It's not always going to be the best. And for better or worse here, like the family just wants to find him, and even if it isn't on good terms, I mean, at least there's closure. You can at least give him a proper burial if that's the case. He'd have somewhere to visit, and everything's still wide open back there. I mean, you don't know anything here. John mentioned that to me. It's like the whole family is just being held hostage here. The case has been turned over from the Cape Breton Regional Police on over to the Major Crimes Unit for further investigation. Everything that was in his place here was all left intact. One minute he was there and he was gone the next. The family ended up making a bunch of missing persons posters here. Figured that would help get his face so people might remember something, right? They also checked around the whole Leeches Creek area, around the MacNeil property. This place covers like 7.5 kilometer radius around the whole area here. The posters and everything that were put up all around, this was around Route 19. This is on the west side of the island. And there was a $500 reward that was offered at one point, and now it's bumped up to $10,000 for any information that leads to his discovery. So he was 50 years old here in 2014 when he went missing. So it's 2024 now, so add 10 years to that. So he'd be about 60, 61 by now. The family tries to go on with their lives. I mean, it is a little bit different now, but I mean, kind of feels like you're missing something. And the trailer that they had bought for Kenny, this had since been removed from the property. This is like a year and a half later, I guess. Now, there's lots of speculation that surrounds his disappearance too. Like, was he taken? Was he led up the road? Somebody robbed him while he got up there, right? Were people pissed off that he was living a good life now? He stopped hanging around with the riff-raff and wasn't spending money on shit. I mean, this could have been like maybe some sort of gang initiation or something, right? He was killed. And there's something going on back there, like, that's for sure anyway. Because, I mean, Kenny's just one of the 15 current active missing persons cases that are going on back home at the moment, right? I mean, you can disappear anywhere within the whole world. But for Cape Breton, it's a little uncommon for these people just to give up and vanish. And he would never venture off without giving someone a heads up to where he's headed, like kind of narrow things down if anything did happen to him. Like, hey, I'm going to Sydney. You didn't hear from him. Okay, well, the last time he said he was going somewhere was Sydney, right? And his brother John actually used his truck to help get the word out about his brother. He has decals, like Kenny's missing poster on the side of his truck. So wherever he drives, people can spread the word around. And you never know, I mean, the smallest detail can lead to something huge. And on social media, there's also a Facebook page here that's actually called Help Find Kenny. And I'll post the link for that page into my episode description here. And if you guys want to join, you can, help out. It would mean a lot. And I am very sorry that all this happened to you guys. I mean, I hope this episode helps you in some sort of way. And like I always say, like, it's my show, but it's your episode, right? And I think that, this should be talked about a lot more. It should get some more media coverage, anything, right? And I do want to thank the family for all your help. I mean, you guys helped me put all this case together. You've all been amazing to work with. And even friends of the family here, up in Ontario there, when Kenny went missing, they actually were keeping an eye out for Kenny shortly after his disappearance. A couple things to wind down here. A headstone was purchased for Kenny, and if his remains are found or anything like that, then he'll be buried with his family. Cadaver dogs, they actually were up around the area a few times over the years, and nothing was ever found. And there were psychics too that played a little part in this all here. See, John himself wasn't really a believer in all that shit, but he got a reading done anyway here. This was with a psychic medium named Mary Boutlier. She was from Lance, Nova Scotia. And yeah, the psychics, they gave clues to the MacNeil family there, try to get things on the go here, get some details about Kenny. And there was another psychic from Alberta that they spoke to. So the one from Alberta had told them that Kenny wasn't feeling well the day that he disappeared, and he wandered off the property. And pretty much the exact same thing that the medium from Cape Breton had said to them too. They also mentioned that Kenny was in an area that he could see the house, and it's somewhere on the property. Now, like I said, John didn't really have much faith in the psychics and everything, but he believes that there's something strange going on when two people from opposite ends of the country mention the same thing. A couple searches that they did, they focused on the shoreline here. This is near McIsaac's Lake. Nothing was found here, and this is about a 2.5 kilometer distance from the MacNeil property. And as we wind down here, I guess, honestly, I hope this episode jogs somebody's memory or gets this information out a little bit more. Just to get some fucking awareness on this whole thing, bring it back to light kind of thing. And I hope it does. I mean, I appreciate all you guys tuning in all the time here, following along with the show and shit. And I just want to help. Hopefully that can help people. I mean, I know I'm not the best out there. I mean, if you want the best, you can go check out Outros at a Ghost podcast. Again, I honestly hope you guys enjoyed this episode here. I hope that the police look into this a little bit more. They give it another look and the family gets some answers. And yeah, that's all I got for you folks. So take care, stay safe. You can check my show out on YouTube here, Spotify, and I'll have some new shit for you soon. Just need to find the sanity to write what I started. So thanks for tuning back into Twisted Tales. I want to thank the family yet again. Take care.
Twisted Tales.